The night was quieter than usual. Boat Yongyut's phone glowed on the table, unread messages piling up, a call that didn't go through. Somewhere between exhaustion and instinct, he knew something wasn't right. Menglong hasn't replied since yesterday, Boat murmured. Oat Pasakorn looked up, his expression heavy. He said he was fine, just tired. Maybe filming took too much out of him. But Boat's eyes didn't move from the screen. He scrolled up to the last message. A single line from Yu Menglong. Do you think peace ever comes before goodbye? A question that would echo in their minds long after the night turned to dawn. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story to keep the light burning for truth and compassion. It was just past 8 a.m. when the news broke. A single post, a headline, a flood of disbelief. Oat was in the middle of rehearsal when his manager rushed in, eyes trembling. You need to see this. The world froze. Boat dropped his coffee cup. It shattered against the floor, but the sound didn't matter anymore. No, that's not true, Boat whispered, voice cracking. He was just texting me. The phone rang again. This time it was silence on the other end. No one had answers, only questions. Fans across the world began posting, is it true? Hashtags flooded timelines. Old interviews, laughter, behind-the-scenes videos, suddenly felt like relics of another lifetime. The world wasn't ready to say goodbye. Neither were they. Days blurred into nights. Boat couldn't sleep, Oat couldn't eat. The studio where they once practiced felt like a ghost town. Every note of Yu Menglong's voice echoed against empty walls. Remember how he used to say the camera was his diary? Oat asked one evening, holding a photo of the three of them. Yeah, Boat said softly. He said every scene was a memory. He wanted us to remember when he couldn't. The words hit harder now. Flashbacks came in fragments. Laughter on set, late-night ramen runs, used quiet jokes when the cameras weren't rolling. He was the calm one, the dreamer, the one who told everyone not to give up. And yet, he was the one who slipped away first. It rained the day they said goodbye. Not the stormy kind, just a slow, quiet drizzle that seemed to weep for everyone there. Boat stood beside Oat, both dressed in black, their eyes hollow yet heavy with memories. Fans lined the street, holding candles, flowers, photos. Some whispered prayers, others just stood in silence. When Boat stepped forward to speak, his voice trembled. He once told me that fame is nothing without peace, he began. But I never thought peace would take him this soon. Oat's tears fell without sound. He placed a white flower beside the framed photo. You were our light, Oat said. Now we'll keep it burning for you. The crowd joined in song. Softly, brokenly, the same theme song Yu Menglong had once sung for a drama about eternal friendship. But as the days went by, something didn't feel right. Boat started noticing little things. A message deleted before being read. A script he was working on suddenly removed from production listings. An old voicemail that ended mid-sentence. What if it wasn't just exhaustion? Boat asked one night, pacing the rooftop. Oat frowned. You mean? Boat nodded slowly. I think he was trying to tell us something. The two began retracing his steps. Old text threads, camera footage, friends who'd spoken to him last. There were hints of pressure, hidden struggles, people who wanted silence instead of truth. The line between grief and suspicion began to blur. If he left this world because of pain, Boat whispered, then the least we can do is make sure his voice still echoes. Weeks later, Oat released a song titled Before Goodbye. It wasn't marketed as a single. No labels, no promotions. Just a quiet upload with one message. For you, brother. We're still here. Boat joined with a short film, clips of you laughing, behind-the-scenes moments, and their voices overlapping in harmony. The video went viral overnight. Fans commented, he's not gone. He lives through this. Hashtags turned from grief to gratitude. Even those who never met Yu Menglong felt the weight of his kindness, his silent strength. Months passed. The pain didn't vanish, but it changed shape. Boat began visiting the same cafe where the three once met. Oat joined him, sometimes bringing flowers, sometimes just silence. Do you ever feel like he's still watching? Oat asked, sipping his coffee. Every time the sun rises, Boat smiled faintly. Every time I hear laughter again. The bond they shared didn't end with death. It evolved. It became legacy, music, memory. They both started a small foundation in Yu Menglong's name for young artists struggling with mental pressure, loneliness, and the silent battles that fame often hides. It wasn't just a tribute, it was a promise. On the anniversary of Yu Menglong's passing, the stage lights turned on again. Oat and Oat stood side by side, performing under a banner that read, "Forever in the stories we tell." As the crowd sang along, the screen behind them played a montage, you smiling, joking, dancing. For a moment, it felt like he was there again. And maybe in a way he was. Because love, when pure and true, never really dies. It becomes the echo that keeps hearts alive. "Rest easy, brother," Oat whispered as the last note faded. "We'll carry your light until we meet again." Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story to keep the light burning for truth and compassion.
The concert lights faded, but the echo of that last note stayed. For Oat and Oat, it wasn't just a song, it was a promise reborn. They lingered backstage, still in black suits that smelled faintly of rain and stage smoke. Fans outside kept chanting Menglong's name until their voices broke into sobs. It felt less like an ending and more like a heartbeat refusing to stop. Oat sat down, palms covering his face. "I thought singing it would make it easier," he whispered. "It doesn't," Oat said. "But it makes him real again, for a few minutes." They both looked at the large screen that had shown Menglong's smile moments earlier. Someone had left it frozen on his last frame, a half smile, half glance toward the camera as if he'd known exactly where to look when memories would someday need him. A month later, Oat found himself writing letters he never intended to send. "Menglong, it's quiet again. Oat," and I went back to the cafe. "The waitress still leaves 3 cups even when only 2 of us walk in. You'd have teased her about that. I can almost hear you laughing." He folded the paper, placed it beside a candle, and let the flame burn the edge. He said it was his way of sending mail to heaven. Oat walked in, carrying a small box. Inside were photographs, movie scripts, and Menglong's notebook. One page stood out, sketches of scenes, quotes, and a strange line scribbled in the corner. "The truth is heavier than silence." Oat looked at Oat. "What do you think it means?" Maybe he wanted us to find something he couldn't say out loud. They began tracing the last script Menglong had been writing. It was called The Window in Winter. The story followed an artist trapped between fame and loneliness, who leaves behind clues for his friends to uncover the truth about his disappearance. The parallels were haunting. Oat reread the lines until dawn. He wasn't writing fiction, Oat murmured. He was writing his life. Oat didn't answer. His eyes were wet. "Then we finish it for him." So they did. They spent nights revising the script, keeping Menglong's words intact, but adding their memories to the gaps he'd left behind. Every line became a prayer. Every scene, a confession. When they were done, they decided to produce it, not as a blockbuster, but as a quiet independent film, dedicated to everyone still searching for light. 6 months later, the premiere of The Window in Winter drew a small crowd. No red carpets.
No flashing cameras.
Just candles, letters, and fans who had followed their journey since the beginning. Oat stood in front of the screen. "We made this not to remind you of what we lost," he said, "but of what still shines." Oat added, "It's not just Menglong's story anymore. It's all of ours." As the film played, scenes unfolded like memories, soft, slow, painfully beautiful. Fans in the audience cried quietly, some holding each other, some whispering thanks. When the lights came on, no one clapped right away. Instead, they stood in silence. Then one voice started singing the theme song Menglong had loved. Soon, everyone joined in. Oat closed his eyes.
"He's here," he said.
And for that one evening, it felt true. Success didn't matter. What mattered was what the film left behind: courage. A few weeks later, messages began arriving from people around the world, young artists, students, even strangers, saying that the movie made them speak up, reach out, or forgive themselves. Oat read one aloud. "Thank you for reminding us that art can heal. I was in a dark place, but now I think I can breathe again." He smiled through tears. "That's him," he said, "still saving people." On the first anniversary, Oat took Boat to a hill outside the city. The night sky was clear. Between the grass stood dozens of glass jars glowing with candles. Fans sent these, Oat explained. Each jar has a message. They walked among them. Notes of gratitude, lyrics, drawings, pieces of hope. Boat bent down and read one. Thank you for teaching us that even quiet souls can shine the loudest. He exhaled. It's beautiful. Oat looked up at the stars. Do you think he's proud of us? He always was, Boat said. Even when we didn't believe in ourselves. They placed their own jar among the others, its label simple. For Menglong, always light. The wind blew gently, making every candle flicker in rhythm. It looked like the sky had descended to earth. Years later, Boat and Oat still visit that hill every winter. The cameras have moved on, fame has faded, but the friendship remains carved into time. Sometimes they talk about making another film. Sometimes they just sit, watching the sunrise. Boat once said, he taught us how to say goodbye without ending the story. Oat smiled. Then let's keep writing it. And so they did. The world didn't forget Yu Menglong. Not because he was gone, but because through love, art, and memory, he never really left. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story to keep the light burning for truth and compassion.